Hi guys, welcome to my knitting podcast where I talk to you about the knitting and crochet and just general crafts that I've been working on the last week. And it is the beginning of April and it's very nice outside. It almost hit 60 yesterday. We're in southeastern Michigan, so it's always nice whenever it gets to be this time of year, and we're heading into spring/summer. So I will miss wearing the knitted objects, but we keep the house pretty cold and I work from home, so I will make do. My name is Mandy, and you can find me on Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits, and you can find me on Instagram as Mandy Von Knits as well. Welcome, new and returning viewers. I'm super happy that you're here to spend maybe a half an hour, 40 minutes just talking about knitting and crafting in general. This week, I've been all over the place. I've been super scatterbrained with my crafting. Well, knitting specifically, because that's what I've been working on this week. I have finally, and I'm going to say finally because it seems like it's been taking quite a bit of time for me. I finally finished my mom's cardigan, and I knitted out a fingering weight yarn, and I did that on purpose because I find that fingering weight tends to be a very easy weight of yarn to wear for multiple seasons, and I wanted to make sure that she would have a cardigan to wear more than in the winter or whatever season that it was meant for. So the problem with fingering weight yarn, and I'm sure you know this if you use it to either crochet or knit, is that it takes a little bit. So I've been working on that for a month, maybe 2 months. I don't know. I haven't really kept track, and I didn't make a Ravelry page for this cardigan either, so I probably should have. I could go back to previous episodes and see when I actually cast on to get kind of an idea of my starting date, but that seems like a lot of effort, so I'm not going to do that. But the pattern that I used for her cardigan was the Irish Gold by Joji Locatelli, and I'm a big fan of Joji Locatelli's patterns because they are pretty size inclusive, and I really do just like the style that she does for her garments. I've made quite a few for myself, and when I showed this pattern to my mom, she was definitely very excited about getting it. So this yarn is a merino nylon, and it is from Blackbird Sycamore Yarns, and the color is called Black Number 1. Now, for the ribbing, I did twisted ribbing. That is pretty much what I always do. Now, on her pattern, she called for a much longer ribbing than I used, but I didn't feel like doing a longer ribbing, and that's pretty much what it boils down to. At the end of the day, I didn't feel like doing it, so I didn't do it. This cardigan is not blacked yet. Well, it's not fully blacked, I guess you would say. So I've blocked this as I've went along. So I would say this much of the body is blacked, like right here. And then I haven't blocked it since I finished the body and the arms. So it will be getting a good soaking just to loosen up the stitches and kind of even them up. I had a lot of fun with this pattern. I did have some issues, and they were more my issues because I am both very picky with lace and very easily distracted. So you can see there are these columns of these yarn overs. So, and they line up very nicely. And if you are, say, easily distracted, like I am, you will just be watching TV and make the yarn over in the wrong place, and all of a sudden you have a column where like half of it is this way and none of it is lining up, and you look at it and you say, wow, I have to do something about that. And wow, I'm going to have to take out several rows of 300 plus stitches, and it's going to be very, very sad, but I'm going to do it anyway. So a long story short, eventually what I did do was I actually put stitch markers right to where it enveloped my increases and decreases. So every time I would have to do a decrease, a stitch marker would come first, and then on the other side of this nice little column there would be a stitch marker right here, which would basically say, hey, all of your increases and decreases and the lace pattern should be done by the time you hit this. So that ended up helping quite a bit, and I stopped making mistakes after I did that. So I highly recommend it if you're like me and you're easily distracted by things that are going on in the room, the universe. If you know, you know, right? If you're a type of person who's just thinking about everything else while you're knitting. Now, I am probably not going to see my mom before I go into the hospital, so this will be blacked and ready for her and folded up nice and neat so that whenever she comes over, and I'm sure she'll come over probably, at least once sometime in my upcoming surgery stay, just so that she could watch my kids while my husband goes up to the hospital. They can't come visit yet. My daughter is only 9, so they don't let her come in. But anyway, I am super happy that this is done, and I know that she's going to love it. I will attempt, and I'm going to say attempt because my mom is very shy, and even growing up she hated taking pictures, so I'm going to attempt to get my mom to let me take a picture of her, at least, from here down, of her wearing the cardigan. And if I win, you will see it, and if not, I'm sorry. But I will also have my husband take some pictures of it after it's blacked and laying out, so that you guys can get a full view of the garment and how it looks. Now, like I said, I've been pretty scatterbrained throughout this week on what I've been working on, and one of the things that I cast on, did I cast on? No, I cast this on just at the end of my last hospital stay, I think. Maybe? No, I cast this on, I don't know, but it's done. See, it's another hat. I either cast it on last week or the week before. This is a Musselburgh, and I make these a lot, and I really do like them. So here's what we've got going on here. Now, this is a double-sided hat, if you have never heard of this pattern. And I took 2 yarns that I previously made Musselburghs from before, and I kind of combined them. So we've got a lot of hot pink and some purple. Now, the purple had, the purple was, I purposely made the original purple Musselburgh a little bit longer because I thought it would be nice to have a different variety. Some wear you'd be able to like fold up to have the double brim, well, quadruple brim. And then somewhere you didn't have to, and it wouldn't be too slouchy. But as you can see, I used all of this yarn up. So this is like the end of this yarn, which is good. And my daughter is a super hot pink person, so she is getting this hat. And I originally thought that there was no way she was not going to wear this hat like this. But she was very super excited with this version as well. So that surprised me, right? She's normally not a purple person, but I think the pink right here helps. And it's just honestly a really happy coincidence that there's just this much, which is pretty much the amount of ribbing that you'd normally have on a normal hat. So I think it really worked very well there. These, I guess I should tell you about the yarn before I'm babbling on about hat styles and everything else. So the yarn that I used for this, I used 2 strands of yarn held together. I used a merino nylon, and this color is Jamberry, and this color is Bleeding Heart, and the yarn is from Blackbird Sycamore Yarns, and I used a mohair silk. That's right, yes. A mohair kid silk. And the colors are in the same, they match the sock yarn. And it's so soft and I love it so much. And it can fit me too. Ooh, there's no slouch or anything. I kind of like that. Let's see how the other side looks. I'm completely messing up my hair even more than it was. That's okay. This is so soft. I really want to make myself another one of these hats. I don't know what color I'd do. I have a dark, not a dark, like a medium reddish color that I really like. It's called Cleric, and it is also the same yarn combination. I have so much fun knitting this pattern. The pattern is from Musselburghs, and the best part about it is that you swatch as you go, so you can use pretty much any yarn that you have on hand. And it is It is one of my running goals for this year to always have one on hand. And you're going to see kind of my idea for my next hospital stay in just a little bit. I'm not there yet. Like I said, I've been so scattered with knitting. And so, okay, let's talk about, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to save that one for after this. So I have been, last night, and today is Sunday, by the way. So last night I spent some time working on the cardigan that I'm working on for my daughter. And it is the Thursday special. And I am having kind of a hard time with this. Can you guess why? Do you see how this is a lace cardigan? I really should learn. So this is like a lace cardigan, whereas opposed to the one I just made my mom, where it's just these little columns, this is like a lot of lace. So I apparently did not learn my lesson. And last night, here, let me see if I can kind of, okay, so I've got the back down to where I need it to be, and I've picked up both fronts. So I picked up, this pattern has you originally cast on with a provisional cast on, and I was very proud of myself because I always have problems with provisional cast ons, but I did not have the same problem this time. I was able to unzip that provisional cast on, and I was so proud of myself because that rarely happens. I always seem to have a super big problem with whenever I'm pulling the waist yarn from the provisional cast on, it's not pulling right. I end up having to cut it out. I don't know what I did so this time when I cast on for the provisional cast on and picked it up, I did not watch a YouTube video. I just said, you know what? It's going to screw up anyways, so I'm just gonna do how I think it goes in my head, and we're just gonna roll with it because I'm gonna have to cut it out anyway. Well, the joke's on me. I did not follow a YouTube video and I didn't have to cut it out. So I don't know if what's probably happening is when I watch a YouTube tutorial on how to do this, I'm listening to who's ever doing the tutorial and I'm kind of filling in words in my I'm filling in the instructions with things that I think I should be hearing, and I'm basically just not listening the way that I should be. So anyways, this is the right front, and there is a little, I think this is like 6 to 9 rows of ribbed pattern, and then you start on the lace. Now last night I started on the lace and I gave up on the lace after 2 rows because I screwed up the count of stitches, and I'm like, it is almost 10 o'clock. This is not a good idea. This is not recommended. We should abort this, take these stitches out, and do this tomorrow during the day. So that's what I'm going to do. This repeat for the lace is like, it's like 3 repeats or something. So I just need to put stitch markers in and I should be fine. But like I said, I pretty much abandoned it once things got squirrely. I'm like, this is not recommended. We should not be knitting on lace at 10 o'clock at night. Nobody wins when we do that. This cardigan is knit with worsted weight yarn. This is Malabrigo Rios in the color magenta, and I love how it looks. It's so pretty. I finished, this cardigan has short rows both in the front and the back, and I finished these pretty short rows right here, and I love the way the magenta looks. So I haven't looked ahead to how the left hand panel starts, but I'm pretty sure it's just the same short rows and then ribbed pattern, and then you start on the lace. And eventually you join these together, and it will be super nice when you get to join them together because there are 3 different pairs of needles attached to this, and it's just like, it's making it's bothering me because it's just overwhelming. It's too much. So I can't wait until I finally knit enough on both the right and the left fronts to where I can join them together. This yarn, Malabrigo Rios, and if you've ever used it before in pretty much anything, it's soft. I love the colors. I would never take this yarn and put it with like a white yarn and wash them together. Before I went and really washed this out, because these colors are just so vibrant. I couldn't imagine that you wouldn't at least get a little color a little bit of color escaping in the water. Let's see, last year I had some bleeding from a sweater that I made, and I ran across Syntherpool. And if you guys don't know what Syntherpool is, I did not know what Syntherpool was before the sweater bled and I had this whole huge issue. You can get Syntherpool on Amazon, and it's basically the same idea, and it might actually be the same stuff that's in the Shout color catchers, except I've got like a little bottle this big, and you basically just pour it in like you would wool wash, and it stops the dye from resetting. So if there's any color bleed, it stops it from reworking itself back into the project, which is great if you're using more than one color, especially if you're using like a dark color and a light color and you're worried that maybe the colors are going to bleed. It's pretty inexpensive. I imagine like the Shout color catchers would work just the same, but like I said, this is more economical for me because it actually came in a bottle, and I've had the same bottle for quite a while now. So I just pour a little bit in and kind of let it sit in that for a bit, and then I'll rinse it out and then put it in wool wash. So I've been that's one of the patterns. That's one of the products that I've really been happy with. Sorry, I don't know if you guys heard that, but there are like sirens going off, and like I said, they're distracting me. I'm easily distracted. I can't wait until this is done. This actually reminds me that I have this color in Malabrigo Arroyo, and it's for a cardigan for me. I'm actually planning on making the portage with it, and that is such a gorgeous pattern that I just can't wait for it. But anyways, this is for my daughter. I probably should have said that. I'm not sure if I did or not. This cardigan is for my daughter. This pattern comes in a variety of sizes for adults and children, and I'm knitting her the size 10, which should be good for this year and next year. She wears cardigans with her school uniform, and she's allowed to wear cardigans with her school uniform just as long as they're one solid color. Okay, so I am going to show you my plans for being in the hospital, because I don't know how long I will be in the hospital. If you don't know, next Friday, so today is Sunday, and next Friday I will be going in to, I'm going to say potentially have surgery, but it's pretty much planned right now to have. I have a doctor's appointment, and they're going to admit me to the hospital from the clinic to have surgery. So I don't know when the surgery will be, and unless something drastically changes, that's what it is. And I will have to lay flat on my back for at least a couple of days. And if you've ever had to lay flat on your back in a hospital, first of all, it's not very comfortable. Second of all, it's not very conducive to knitting, especially heavy items. So what do? I go, hey, I should find 3 skeins of yarn to cast on Musselburghs so I can get them started. So at the very least, if I'm feeling up to it, I can do the round and round and round and round knitting. So here we are. This is the first Musselburgh that I cast on. Now, I know this doesn't seem like it, but this is actually completely, the increases are completely done. The problem is that I'm using this teeny tiny needle and I can't stretch it out, so you're not going to be able to tell. But this is a super pretty, it's very pretty. I was very, very happy when this started knitting up like this. This is, let me see if I can find the little tag here. So this is Mouchwitch Yarns, and this is the year of yarn for February. So last year she did a year of yarn, and this was the February color. And I love the way that this looks. It's so pretty. So this is going to be the first hat that I make. And never fear, because I have 3 more hats. So my hope is to cast on and start 3 Musselburghs. The problem is that, what am I going to keep all these hats on, right? Because, like, you cast them on and they're on needles, and then, like, I'm going to eventually run out of 3.25 needles, which is what I use for my Musselburghs for sock weight. So what I'm thinking is, I have some Chiagoo needle stoppers, at least 1 set, which will work for 1 of them. And maybe the other hat in the hat in waiting, I guess you can call it, I'll just put, like, I'll attach it to like a size 5 needle, so it's obviously not the right needle, but also the stitches won't slide off, and then I can lock it with and one of the locking stitch markers, so that way it definitely doesn't slide off. But so that is my first color, and I'm happy about that. And my second color is going to be another Mouchwitch Yarns, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is the year of yarn for February. No, I just said February. This is May. So this is 75/25 superwash merino, and it's another Mouchwitch Yarns. And this is completely my daughter. This is so pretty. So we're going to have hats, right? This is going to be mine, and this is going to be hers. Do you see, like, the pretty speckles in that? We've got, like, hot pink and purple, and there's even, like, a tiny bit of green. Like, no, it's yellow. Sorry, even though I have the lights on, the lights are just not doing it today. This has the green, and this also has really pretty speckles. So I will try to work on these in the hospital. There's no promise. I might not be able to get to them. And even if I don't, these will be my next Musselburghs that are in the pipeline. But naturally, like I said, there are 3. And the third one, I picked a self-striping yarn. There is nothing more happy than this. I love this. This is, what is this? This is Always Be Kind yarn, and the color is Rainbows After Midnight. It is 75/25 merino nylon. And I can't wait to knit up with this one. because there's something very potato chip knitty about knitting with self-striping yarn. And as soon as I show you the thing that I cast on this week, you'll see a running theme, because it is also a I don't know if you would call it a self-striping yarn or just longer color. It's longer color repeats, but that is super pretty. Rainbows After Midnight. So it's got all of the rainbow colors, and it also has the black, which I saw and immediately thought I need. And this is going to be my third Musselburgh. The bad part, and tell me if this happens to you guys, the bad part about sticking these little tags into the middle of the sock yarn is that when you pull them out, it's nearly impossible to get them back in. It's impossible. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what I cast on this week. Now, was it last week? Was it the week before? I don't know. It's like all of these days, all the weeks, all the days, they just kind of blur together after a little bit. But I mentioned this scarf, right? And it is called the Prismarine scarf, and it is originally knit in Earth Unique fingering and Earth Harvest fingering. So it's knit in a solid color and a self-striping yarn. Now, the other day, week, month, I don't know, Jimmy Bean's Wool had an email that they sent out where they were talking about this scarf in particular and the kits that they had for this scarf. And the kits were like $30. They were very inexpensive, and I fell in love with the scarf because I love colors, and I love bright colors, and I love self-striping yarn, and just I really appreciated how this scarf looked, and I thought, I really want to make that, which is very odd for me because I think the only scarf I have ever made came from a knitting machine. So I'm not one for hand knitting yarn or hand knitting scarves. But here we are. This is what I have so far. And the way that this scarf knits up is you have this section right here. And this section has a repeat, and then you have a little transition right there, and then you do section 2, which is the same as section 1, except the colors are reversed. So where I used the main color and contrasting color here, they're swapped up here, which I really like. And let me see if I can show you. This is my main color, and I love that. It's like a corally color. It's coming up really orange on camera, but it is definitely not. It's more coral. And then this is half of the self-striping yarn. I've used one color so far, and I'm starting on like this purpley blue. I'm trying to decide in my head, is this purple or is this like a really dark blue? I'm gonna go with purple. This is closer to purple than blue. And you can see the colors coming up. We've got some like dark green and yellow, and there's a pink. So this pattern, the repeats are super easy. this is a great pattern. And so I mentioned that it uses the Earth Unique yarn, and the pattern is written to intentionally do intentional pooling for that specific yarn. But I mean, these are longer color repeats, and that's fine. But if I have like a color change in the middle of the row, I'm just gonna keep going. I would, if I had the same yarn that this pattern was written for, I would most definitely try to do intentional pooling. But since I don't, and I mean, I like the way this is coming out. I think it's pretty. It's not gonna bother me so much if like there's a color change in the middle of the row. I think that it's a scarf, and once you're wearing the scarf, you're not going to know anyways. So it says that the width of the scarf is 14.5 inches, and that is pretty much what I'm noticing here. This is a 14-inch needle, so it's a little bit, it's not as wide as it's supposed to be from the pattern, but it's also not blocked, and there's a lot of stretch here. I just don't want to pull it off the needle. This is my first time using this yarn, and I'm going to put down below what the yarn is because I don't have the tags in here, and I'm not going to make a big mess trying to find it. I'll put it down below. It is my first time using this yarn. The yarn brand is the same for both the color changing yarn and the main body yarn. And I did notice that as I'm knitting it up, it's kind of a teeny bit splitty, but it's nothing too serious, right? It didn't bother me. I just kept knitting. Every so often I might have to rework a stitch, but it's fine. And I really do like the colors that are coming out. So as for knitting projects and what I am working on, this has been my main, like my super happy project that I don't want to set down because I'm like, hey, I want to work to see what the next color looks like. Or, ooh, I can't wait to see what this section 2 looks like, and over and over and over again. So yesterday, as I'm knitting on this, I'm thinking about how I should probably get my daughter's cardigan in a good state, but I just wasn't feeling it yesterday or the day before, apparently, because, you know, this is shiny and new. I promise I will. I mean, her cardigan's not going to take an incredibly long amount of time. It's worsted weight. It's just right now I'm so excited about knitting that scarf that I can't think about doing anything else without being sad that I'm not working on the scarf. Though, like I said, this whole week has been like I've been working on scarves and trying to get Musselburghs cast on and finishing hats and just all sorts of things. Okay, so do you remember last week when I told, did I say last week? I don't remember. I do not remember if I said that I went ahead and bought an emotional support chicken kit, because I did. And now I'm going to show it to you because I think that they're super cute. So this is something that I purchased, and it is an emotional support chicken knitting kit. And the color that I picked was Dolly Parton. And it's just a cute chicken stuffy. The finished size on it is 10 to 13 inches. Now, I bought this from the Knitting Tree LA, and I'm sorry for the crinkling, but hang on, let me try to push. Okay. So these are the colors that the chicken is going to be in. We've got like a bright pink and this really pretty white and blue. Now, this kit comes with everything except stuffing. It says all materials you need are included. The ingredients are 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn, safety eyes, wattle, comb, and beak yarn, chicken stitch markers, yarn needle, pattern, and hugs. It says not included, stuffing and US 7 knitting needles. Now you can create your own magical comfort chicken who doesn't need a permit to always be with you. It's adorable, huggable, and you don't have to feed it for it to love you back. I told my aunt that I was going to knit an army of emotional support chickens, because who doesn't need an emotional support chicken? I feel like as soon as I make this, my daughter is going to steal it, which is fine. But I've seen these a lot on Instagram, and I think they're cute, and it's a cute idea, and it's something fun to do. The chicken is knit in worsted weight yarn, and from what I've read, you can actually use different weights of yarn to make smaller, other size chickens. So this one will be in worsted, and we will see if I'm going to make some little baby chickens as well. But one thing at a time. This will be worked on after I'm back from the hospital, because with all of the small pieces, it's probably not going to be very conducive to hospital knitting. But I just wanted to show that to you guys because I thought that they were really cute. And I mean, it's been one of, I don't want to say it's been one of those years, but everybody needs emotional support chickens, right? Sorry guys, the camera died. Okay, so that is the end of knitting and crafting for this week. I don't have anything else to talk about regarding crafty goodness. So if that's all you're here for, I thank you so much for stopping by. I hope to see you guys next time, and if you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so for life stuff, and I'll try to make this super brief because I've already been talking for quite a bit here. Next Friday, I am going into the hospital, and I'm going to have a surgery to try to close up a spinal fluid leak, and so that means I'm not sure when my next episode will be, so we'll just have to play it by ear and see what happens there. Other than that, life has been pretty boring. I've been working on some certification studying, and I've been reading books on and off. Nothing of super interest. I've been kind of in a weird reading mode. I read and I'm not finding any joy in it right now. I think that it's just because I'm worried about my surgery and everything upcoming, that whenever I'm reading, I'm just kind of listening for the sake of listening. It's not a very, I mean, it's not that it's not pleasant, it's just that my mind's on so many different things that reading is kind of at the bottom of the list. So I'm not even going to share any of the books that I've read with you, because while they are good, I'm not even sure I could tell you what most of them were about anymore. Which sounds terrible, right? Let's see. So it's April. It's the beginning of April. We had Easter last week, and the kids are excited because it's finally starting to get sunny out, and I'm excited because it's finally starting to get summer out. Hopefully later today, my husband he's going to put, I got this clear bird feeder that attaches to your window, and I'm hoping that he'll put it out there. I ordered some bird seed as well, so I'm super excited. We have a pair of cardinals that live outside in, like, I see them all the time right outside our window and hear them, so I'm hoping to see them. I don't know why I'm so excited about it. I'm not a big bird watcher, but I do love these cardinals. In fact, this last week, it's been like rainy, and like on Friday we had hail. It like on Friday it was hailing and snowing a little bit, and on Saturday it was like 60. Anyways, the last week it's been snowing, or not snowing, it was raining a whole bunch, so I hadn't seen the cardinals, so I started getting kind of worried about them. I kept going to my husband, I hope that they're okay. And he thinks he's like, they're birds. It's okay. It's okay. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys this week. I hope to see you soon. I hope that I don't spend another 2 weeks in the hospital, and hopefully this surgery will go by quick. So until then, happy crafting and knitting, or anything that you feel like doing. I hope that you guys have a great couple of weeks, and please like I said, please hit the like or subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.